I grew up in a high vocabulary home. My father taught English at the beginning of his career, and he was always correcting any grammatical error any of us made.
I always knew him and looked up to him in the ward and was always impressed because he always had such good answers in the Sunday school classes.
I was on the debate team at the university for the first 2 years, then was called on a mission. Everybody had forgotten me in the 2 years I was gone. Ran for student body president, won that, then was a vice president of the National Student Association.
I think he gained a lot of political skills because he was so active in the political circles at the university.
The professor that had the greatest impact on me at the University of Utah was Chi Homer Durham. He was very tough, made me really work very hard. I remember the things Homer Durham taught me about political science. I used them in the Senate.
When my sister broke up with him, my mother said, "Can't I get any of my daughters to like Bob Bennett?" And I said, "Sure, I will." When we were dating, he was running his father's senatorial campaign.
I spoke in virtually every county in the state. It was an enormously beneficial kind of experience for me. When we won, I said to Dad, "I don't want to go back to the warehouse and count glass for a living. Can I go to Washington and see if I can find something in politics?" So proposed to Joyce, we got married, went to Washington, one thing led to another, and we were there for 12 years.
I kind of knew what I was getting into when I married him.
I've always had an interest in politics. I remember as a high school student being devastated when Harry Truman won re-election. I thought it was the end of the world.
I think he knew how to think when he was born. I think he absorbs information from the air.
The guy is just really smart. If you're in the room with 10 people and Bob Bennett's in the room, he's going to probably be the smartest guy in the room.
You know, I never worried that he would not be able to provide for our family, even though he was kind of jumping around from job to job, because he was always very intelligent.
So I became the first lobbyist for the JCPenney company, then joined the Nixon administration as the head of congressional liaison at the Department of Transportation. We went to California to work for Howard Hughes. I was the director of public relations and started a series of jobs in various places. I worked for the Osmonds for a while. I was the CEO of a young computer company. I was recruited to a company called Microsonics. That's where I was when Hiram Smith called me and said, "We're starting up this company in Utah called the Franklin Institute, and will you please come give us some advice as to how to do it?" And Bob, I know it sounds crazy, but we think we can get to $1 million a year. Life being what it is, we did do $1 million. We did $1.5 million, and the next year we did $3.5 million, $80 million, $100 million, it kept growing.
He ruined a perfectly good retreat at Sun Valley with the Franklin Company by telling me, just as we were going to sleep, that he was going to run for the Senate.
The more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, why not?
Bob was steeped in Utah political history. He understood it, and it was that combination of his business background and his political background that really made him kind of the perfect candidate.
Well, everybody assumed Joe Cannon would win that election.
And Joe Cannon was in first place with 56%, and I was in fourth place with 3%.
And I can remember very clearly standing outside the hotel to see how the votes were going to come in, and I said to Senator Bennett, "How do you feel?" And he said, "I really feel great." He said, "If I win, I get to go represent the state of Utah. If I lose, I'm going to go on a mission for my church. Either way is okay with me."
I discovered early on that I wasn't going to make much difference on the truly big issues.
Well, the Senate is an interesting job because you have so many different skills that you're using.
I would focus on the niche issues and would have senators say to me, "You know, that's important, but I'm so busy with saving the world that, you know, you go ahead with this."
He was really politically savvy. He understood what could get done and what couldn't get done.
Bob has an incredible ability to speak.
Well, you can make the point all you want. If the problem remains unsolved, in my view, you haven't done your job.
If you were going to build a prototype of a public servant, you'd build Bob Bennett. And I think he'll go down in the history of Utah as one of Utah's great statesmen.
It's very clear that some of
He loved the opportunity to serve the state of Utah. He loves Utah. He loves the institutions of Utah.
When I lost in the convention and was approached by officials at the U saying, would you come be part of the Hinckley Institute, I felt very honored and immediately felt, I have an obligation.
He's got so many plans, I don't know if I'll ever see him again.
I have a couple more books left in me.
He has a speaking agent.
There's a major law firm in Washington that says we want you as a senior advisor. I do not intend to retire for a long, long time. When I wandered onto the University of Utah campus as a frightened young freshman in 1951, it never occurred to me that I would be honored by a Distinguished Alumnus Award. I'm tremendously grateful and accept it with real enthusiasm because this is one that really means something to me.